Today I want to share with you our brand new October craft box, and this is our Merry and Bright craft box. So as the name suggests, it's leading down the festive route, ready for December, and we've put together loads of goodies in one box at a fantastic discounted price, ready for you to get crafting this festive season. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through everything in the box like usual, and then I'm going to show you guys how to make one of my cards that I've previously shown in another video from start to finish, so you can get a good idea of what you can create with this craft box. So as per usual, the box always comes really nicely in these lovely illustrated Sizzix craft boxes, and then inside this box you do get two dies. Now these are packaged slightly different, or at least they were in mine, and they were kind of in this clear plastic envelope, which is a really nice way to store your dies and keep them all safe, but it does make it a little bit more difficult for me to show you guys, so which is why I can showcase them a little bit better when I do the make later on. But the first die is called Merry Motifs, and this one has loads of little elements in it and is really nice because this one is a stamp framelit set. So you get different elements like this tree and this kind of star shape, and there's a few others, and then you get stamps to go along with them. So hopefully you can see how this tree kind of fits perfectly around that stamp, and it means that you can then add the detail with the stamp on top. So you get these elements here, so like I said, the tree, the star, the candy cane and the little mug, they all come with dies like this that fit perfectly around the outside, and then you also get a stamp of this sentiment, which is Merry and Bright, hence the name of the box, which is really nice, a really nice calligraphy kind of style font. And then you do also get a few different pieces of foliage in here as well, that hopefully I can showcase a little bit better on some of the makes and stuff like that. So you get things like little holly leaves and little foliage pieces and little berry elements like little circles. So there's loads of different fun things in that set, and it's really versatile, I think, for kind of every festive Christmas season. And I really like that you get the stamps with it, so it's like you can use the stamps by itself, you can use the dies by itself, and there's loads of different options along with that. Because these are stamps, you do also get one of our clear embossing ink pads, which obviously means that you can stamp your stamps straight away, and then we've even popped some embossing powder in there, so you can then use the clear embossing ink pad along with your embossing powders. So we have a gold embossing powder and our cobblestone one. So our gold is like a flat kind of metallic shade, and then the cobblestone is like a glittery shade once you apply heat over the top. So they work obviously in conjunction with each other, and it's quite nice to have a clear embossing ink pad and some embossing powders rather than just a plain ink pad like a black ink pad. It just adds a little bit more to your make, which is really nice. So those kind of all work together. And then I did say there was two die sets. So the second die set is this one here. So I'll just hold up the die set pieces, which are these three here, and you're probably already thinking, what are these for? But these work in conjunction with one of our new embossing folders. So these two together are a new technology here. It says it's called the Switchlets, and if you've heard of Impresslets, where it embosses and cuts at the same time, this does the same kind of thing, but it gives you options that you can interchange, hence the name Switchlets. So hopefully you can see this. We have three embossed elements on there, and then you just pop your die cut piece, depending on which one you want, and you line it up and attach it to these little magnets here, and then it just sits perfectly on top of there, and then you pop your card through, close it and pop it through your machine, and you get your embossed die cut, which is really fun. But if you didn't want that shape, you could just interchange it for a different one, and there are loads of different options just from this one set, which I really love. I don't think I mentioned, this one is called Seasonal Seals. So it is meant as like a wax seal, faux wax seal element on an envelope or something like that, and I will show you guys how to use this and how to attach it onto your cards as well, or your envelopes. And I just love this. I think it's a fantastic technology. It's really versatile. You can have tons of different options, and I think that's just value for money with any die set, basically. So I love that. And then obviously, since we've got faux wax seals, you need some cards and envelopes so you can seal your envelopes with your wax, your seasonal seals. So you get 10 cards and envelopes in this, and this is the Holly Berry set. So it's a really nice deep crimson red, and they are roughly a 6 size, I believe, so 10.5 centimeters by 14.8 centimeters, and it just means that you don't have to worry about making perfect card bases. They're already there, and you can just keep going with your festive card making, which is super handy not to have to worry about that. We've also popped in 5 sheets of our gold aluminium sheets, or aluminum sheets if you're in the US. And these are really fantastic because they're actually really thin metal, so they're actually thin aluminium, and they're backed with an adhesive, so you just have to peel back this layer, and it means it's self-adhesive, which is super handy, and it means that you don't have to worry about adhering with glue or anything like that. It's just so super handy. And I love these aluminium sheets because they're great for things like card making, which I am going to show you, but they're also great for things like home decor pieces as well, because they're going to have a little bit more longevity on home decor pieces and things like that than maybe cardstock would. So it's really nice for those kind of things, and this works fantastically with these seasonal seals, this embossing and presslet, switchlet. And I'm going to show you guys how to use those with that as well. Okay, you also get some glitter, so obviously we love popping a little bit of sparkle in there. This is the Holly Berry glitter. It's a really nice deep red shade. And then we have our cardstock. So you have 10 sheets of our festive cardstock. I'm just going to fan this out so you can see all the colours. It's our regular cardstock, so it's textured on one side and smooth on the other, but in our festive colour range. So it's a really nice array of colours, really versatile for the festive season, really kind of traditional colours but with pops of modern. So you've got like the pops of the pink and maybe like the teal. Where's my teal colour? Oh, like this one here. So I love them. They're really bright and fun, but kind of really timeless, I think, which is really, really nice and perfect for die cutting if you're making cards. I just scratched my face on my card. I'm too excited by it, clearly. And then we've also popped in 5 sheets of plain white cardstock, so it's really good to have plain white cardstock in your collection, particularly with this one, with it because it has stamps. I find that having really smooth plain cardstock is perfect for stamping. It's just a lot easier to stamp on a smooth surface, and having that plain white cardstock in there is just a massive help. Okay, so that is everything that you get in the box without me destroying it. It is a fantastic deal. It retails on the .co.uk website for £28.99 and on the US website, which is our .com website, for $34.99. So depending on which one you are shopping on, those are the 2 places to go and the 2 prices. It is a fantastic deal. I think I said in one of the previous ones, you normally get a chunk of your box made up with the dies that we put in there, because I believe those dies are around £10 to £13. So already you're kind of making up a big chunk of your box, and everything else is just a fantastic discount on top of it. And it means that you don't have to go sifting through things. We popped everything that kind of works together, and hopefully it's new stuff that you guys don't have in your collection yet, because these are brand new dies for 2021, and the things like the aluminium sheets are brand new to our effects range as well. So there's loads of fun things in there that you can get your hands on. They do sell out, so I definitely recommend checking it out if you are interested. But the make that I'm going to show you guys today is this really simple but gorgeous card. So I'm going to show you guys how to use the aluminium sheet along the bottom and the embossing powder and the embossing ink on these lovely little trees with the glitter stars on top. And then I think I'm also going to show you guys how to do one of the seals for your envelope, so you've got a perfect combination with your card and then your seal on your envelope as well. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that today, kind of from start to finish, and any tips and tricks that I might have. So to do that, the best way is for me to switch to my overhead camera so you can have a better look of everything that's going on my workspace, and we'll get started. So bear with me a second, and yeah, we'll be onto the make. Okay guys, so this is the card that I'm obviously going to show you guys how to make. So obviously to start off, I've got the card base. So you're just going to want to take one of the card bases. So this is the Hollyberry card base that comes in the set, the pack of 10. And then you're going to want to take some of the aluminium sheet. Now this I have measured down, so I've measured down to the width because I'm going to be doing a landscape card. So I've measured across and then about halfway up, and I've trimmed that off. Okay, so this is just a small piece of the square piece of aluminium sheet that you will get, or one of the pieces. And as I mentioned before, this has a sort of self-adhesive back, so you can literally just peel away the back, and then this is all self-adhesive, which makes it super handy, and it means it adheres really cleanly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the card front just so I know exactly where I am working, and then I'm going to very carefully, you can kind of peel it off a little bit if you got it in the wrong place. You don't want to bend it too much though, or manipulate it. You just want to measure it up. So I'm going to get really close, I think, to this corner. It might take a few goes just to get it exactly right. But if you're a little bit wary about doing it this way, you can just cut a little bit bigger a piece and then trim it down. So, because I'm struggling to get it lined up on a live video, which is just perfect. I think that's as good as I'm going to get it. There we go. So, like I said, you're going to have some bumps and some bends if you're kind of trying to do it several times, but if you aren't as confident, just cut a larger piece of the aluminium sheet and then stick it on, and then trim down the edges on the back. Okay, so we've got like a half and half element on our card, just adds a little bit of detail there. And then I'm going to pop this to one side because we're not going to need this for a little bit. And then I've already die cut 3 of my trees using the Merry Motifs die set that you get in there from the plain white cardstock. I'm trying to pick up and move. There we go. So I've die cut 3 already, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the stamp set that you get, and I'm going to stamp onto each of these trees. So I've already done that on 2 of them, so like so. Now you'll find with embossing and things like that, it doesn't come off perfectly every time. Don't worry about it. I feel like that kind of adds to the effect. So some of these I've got a bit of smudges, but I've decided to keep them. You could just do several and then pick your best ones if you like. But just a few tips when you are embossing. So you're going to want to bring in your clear embossing ink pad. And what I find is I like to attach my stamp onto something rather than just do it from my hands, just because it gives me a cleaner surface. And you may have seen me use stamping blocks in the past, but what I found recently is if I use the back of the lid for the clear embossing ink pad, it makes a great stamping block. And as you can see, I've used it already. So this is what I'm going to use as my stamping block, and I'm just going to place my stamp on there. It kind of adheres itself, and then I can use it to stamp with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it into my clear embossing ink pad, make sure everything's kind of covered, and then line it up on my die cut and give it a firm press. and this is why I pop it onto something like a stamping block or the lid, just so it means that I can really press all across the different sides, like so. Okay, and then you can take that off and then bring in something like a funnel tray, like our Sizzix funnel tray, and I'm going to use the gold embossing powder that comes in the box and sprinkle over the top. You kind of want to do this relatively quickly so the embossing ink doesn't dry. You kind of want it to still be tacky, and then I'm just going to take my fine tip tweezers to gently pick that up and shake off the excess. Okay, and as you can see, that's really light at the moment, and I'm going to show you how you can go over it a second time if you find that you've done it too light. Okay, so I'm just going to pop down my silicone mat. This is from the glue gun accessory kit, just to protect my surface. I'm going to keep it in my tweezers and then use my dual speed heat gun and apply heat just for a couple of seconds. Just until the embossing powder melts, okay? Okay. And you can see that particularly the bits in the middle are really, really light. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over it a second time. So I do this quite a lot with my embossing, just to give it a really bold effect. So again, just pressing it into your ink pad, and then you can just line it up again over the top. It's pretty easy to kind of line up, but like I said, don't worry if it's not perfect. And then the areas that I find it didn't catch, like particularly the middle, I'm going to make sure I really give it a firm press. Okay, then pull that away and then pop it back into my tray and sprinkle another layer over the top. I use a funnel tray just to catch any excess, otherwise it goes to waste quite quickly. And you can see already, just by doing that second layer, it's really bold compared to our first one. You can give it a little blow if you find that you've got bits where you don't want it. Again, bring in my mat and apply heat. And there we go. Oh, have I done it all? There we go. You can see how the colour changes, so you'll notice parts that you haven't completely applied all the heat to. And then we have our embossed tree. That's probably my best one compared to these two. So I'll probably put that one in the middle. Okay, so now we can bring back in our base, and I'm going to pop the trees onto the base just using a little bit of foam tape. So I'm just going to rip it off, pick up each one of my trees and just peel off the back. I'm going to pop my first one about there. I am doing this upside down as well, guys, so if it's looking a bit wonky, I do apologise. The good thing about this kind of foam tape, you don't press too hard, and I find that with a couple of our adhesives like our roller or something like that, you can kind of move them around. So I think I'm pretty happy with that, but I might just pick that up slightly, move that way. Okay, I think that's roughly where I want them. So I've now got my 3 little trees. And now last but not least, I think they need some stars on the top. So what I've done is I've taken one of the star die cuts from the Merry Motifs die again, and I've die cut them from red cardstock, but before I die cut them, I stuck some of our adhesive sheet onto it. So it meant that I've got an adhesive layer on one side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to bring back in my funnel tray. I'm actually going to get rid of the excess of the gold because I'm going to be working with glitter this time rather than embossing powder. So put that back on, put my lid back on here, and then I'm going to bring in the Hollyberry glitter. So we can just peel off that white layer from these stars and it reveals the red cardstock underneath, but it means that one side is completely covered in an adhesive. You could just apply like a thin layer of glue onto these if you don't have adhesive sheets or you prefer not to use them. But I think we've popped adhesive sheets in quite a few of the other craft boxes, so if you've got your hands on a couple of the other craft boxes, you've probably already got some adhesive sheet in your collection. And then we can just sprinkle some glitter over the top. And what I love about using adhesive sheet with glitter is it means you get a really nice thin layer of glitter, but it adheres all over. So you have some really nice full glitter die cuts, which just look so lovely and sparkly. So we've got all three of those lovely little glitter stars. And then we can bring back in our card base with our trees. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to glue on those stars. So I'm just going to take a little bit of express glue and just put a teeny tiny dab onto the top. You really don't need much. And then I can take my fine tip tweezers, my curved tip tweezers again, and just place these stars on the top just to finish it off, which I think they really do. Like so. So there we have our finished card. And then I also wanted to show you guys how to use the seasonal seals die. Okay, so you've got your card. We now need to finish off our envelope. So bringing in the seasonal seals die, and like I mentioned before, you have the emboss sections and then you just pop over your die cut that you want to. So I'm choosing the one that has like an organic edge, so it looks like a proper kind of wax seal. And then you can use your cardstock. So what I'm going to do is I've got a piece of the kind of green coloured cardstock, and then I've got the aluminium sheets because I wanted to show you guys how the aluminium sheet embosses because it works really nicely. You could just do this by itself, but I find that it's a lot easier if you adhere it to a piece of cardstock and then it holds its kind of shape a little bit better. So what I've done is I've cut them both to the same size, and then really easy with this adhesive backing. Ooh, she says. Just peel that off and plonk that over the top like so. And then I can pop this in here and we can die cut it. So bear in mind which way you want it. So I probably want my cardstock to be facing this way, so it goes like this because these are indented upwards, and that's the kind of way that I want it. So I'm going to place that in there, and then I'm going to bring back my machine, or bring in my machine because I haven't used it yet in the video. And then to emboss, you want to take off your turquoise top layer and just use one clear plate and just pop that through your machine. Okay. And you can already probably see that these have cut and embossed, which I love. And they cut and emboss beautifully. And it is even picked up the texture of the card underneath because I use the textured cardstock. If you're not a fan of that, then you can definitely stick it onto the smooth white cardstock or the other side of the cardstock. And you can hopefully see there, I've got the bow, the hollyberry, and the little snowflake as well. Okay, so that's kind of how it works. And then what I can do is I can pop it inside of an envelope. So using one of those envelopes, what I can do is just pop my card inside my envelope, obviously once you've written it, but mine's not going to anybody right now. Pop that in there, close that over, and then if you've done it just with the adhesive, you could peel off the layer and do it that way, but I would just pop a little bit of express glue onto the back because I've backed mine onto card, and then place it on like so. And then we've got a card with an envelope with that gorgeous wax seal ready to be delivered. Obviously wait for the glue to dry, but it won't leave much of a residue, and if you wanted to, you could just literally just glue it onto the top side if you prefer. So I'll just pull that out just for now. But there you have your envelope with your card. So I'm just going to pop back up to the forward facing camera and we'll say goodbyes and we're all good. And there we have it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed following along and making this gorgeous, simple but effective Christmas card using the aluminium sheets in the bottom and the embossing folder, and as well as showing you guys how to use that new Switchlet technology with the aluminium sheets as well to finish off your envelopes. I really hope you enjoyed following along and making those. If you are interested in checking out the craft box, definitely head on over to the Sizzix website. These do kind of tend to sell out fast, so definitely grab yourself one if you're interested and treat yourself ready to get crafting this festive season. If you're ready for Christmas, I feel like it's going to be here before we know it, the rate that 2021's going, so definitely it's a great time to kind of boost your festive crafting collection for sure. Just to reiterate, it is £28.99 on the UK website and $34.99 on the US website, depending on where you are shopping. But no matter where you are shopping or which website you are shopping from, it is a fantastic deal. You get some brand new technology in there, some amazing dyes and making essentials, and it's just a great thing to kind of treat yourself or gift to somebody else and get yourself or them ready for the festive season, which hopefully we're all excited for. So I think that's everything from me today, guys. If you are interested in checking out any of the other videos surrounding the craft boxes, or you need a little bit more inspiration, myself and the other designers have put out a couple of videos and will continue to surrounding this craft box and any others that we have. So if you get your hands on one and you're struggling for a bit of inspiration, definitely check those out across all of our socials. And if you guys do get your hands on one, we'd love to see some of your images of your projects and your makes, kind of to share the inspiration across all of our socials. It's really, really nice to see all of your makes. We love seeing it here at Sizzix. So I think that's it from me today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed watching and following along. I'll see you in the next one, but until then, stay safe and keep crafting. Thanks, bye!